My people, listen to me very carefully. There is a battle going on, not outside, not in your house, not with your friends, not with your enemies, but inside of you. It is not a battle of fists or swords. It is a battle of spirit. It is not you versus them. It is you versus you. The greatest fight of your life is the one that happens in the silence of your own heart. Every morning, when you wake up, before you speak, before you move, before you check your phone, the battle begins. The moment your eyes open, two voices start to speak. One says, rest a little more, you deserve it. The other says, get up, destiny is waiting. One says, you cannot make it. The other says, try again. You are stronger than you think. Which voice you listen to, that is what determines your greatness. You see, greatness is not something you find in the market. It is not sold in the shop. You cannot buy it with money. You cannot inherit it from your parents. Greatness is a decision, a battle, a daily war between who you are and who you are meant to be. Look at yourself. Look deep within. How many times have you been the reason for your own failure? Not the devil, not your enemies. You, your fear, your excuses, your comfort zone, your laziness, your anger, your pride. These are the enemies living inside your own heart. The truth is, no man can destroy you unless you cooperate with this destruction. No situation can stop you unless you give it permission to stop you. The real enemy is not the person talking against you. It is the voice inside you that believes them. The real limitation is not the wall outside. It is the weakness you have accepted inside. I tell you, many people are fighting shadows. They are blaming others for what they have refused to conquer within. You cannot defeat the world until you have defeated yourself. You cannot command victory if you have not mastered discipline. Greatness demands pain. Greatness demands sacrifice. Greatness demands that you tell yourself no when everything in you wants to say yes. There is a version of you that is waiting to be born, but that version cannot come out until you kill the version that is lazy, fearful, and doubtful. You cannot become new while you keep protecting the old. There is a voice inside you that says, I cannot. There is another voice that whispers, I can. There is a weak you and there is a strong you. There is a small you and there is a giant you. There is a fearful you and there is a fearless you. The question is, which one will you feed? Because the one you feed will grow. The one you starve will die. If you keep feeding your excuses, your strength will die. If you keep feeding your doubts, your confidence will die. But if you feed your discipline, your hunger, your purpose, your spirit, the giant in you will rise. Listen to me, my people. There is something you must understand. The devil does not fear the man who prays loudly. He fears the man who conquers himself. Because when a man has conquered his flesh, No temptation can control him. When a man has conquered his weakness, no situation can break him. That is why the real battlefield is not in the church, not in the office, not in the street. It is in your heart. Every time you want to give up, that is the battle. Every time you want to quit, that is the battle. Every time you want to compromise, that is the battle. And the question is, who will win? The lazy you or the focused you? The emotional you or the disciplined you? The fearful you or the fearless you? Let me tell you something. You will never know who you are until life pushes you to your limit. You will never know how strong you are until everything in you wants to quit. And you choose to fight one more round. You must fight for your future. You must fight for your purpose. You must fight for your destiny. You must fight for your greatness. Nobody will hand it to you. Nobody will give it to you freely. You have to win it. You have to earn it. You have to conquer yourself for it. Look around. Many people have big dreams, but small discipline. They talk big, but act small. They want the crown, but they run away from the cross. They want success, but they avoid sacrifice. They want to shine, but they refuse to burn. My people, listen. You cannot be great if you cannot be consistent. You cannot be great if you cannot be broken. You cannot be great if you cannot be stretched. You cannot be great if you are afraid to be uncomfortable. Every great man you admire fought himself. Every legend you read about won the battle inside first before they won anything outside. The greatest victory is not over your neighbor. It is over your nature. You must reach a point where you say, no more excuses, no more pity, no more comfort, no more delay. You must rise above your own weakness. The man who conquers others is powerful, but the man who conquers himself is unstoppable. Do you know what greatness looks like? It looks like waking up when your body says no. It looks like praying when your mind says it's useless. It looks like giving when you have nothing left. It looks like forgiving when you have every reason to hate. It looks like trying again when everyone has given up on you. That is the fight you versus you. You will face moments when your emotions will betray you. Moments when your mind will tell you to quit. Moments when you will feel small, unworthy, broken. But that is the test. That is when you must rise. That is when you must remember the giant inside you is not dead. It is only sleeping. You must wake it up. You must shake yourself and say, no, I was not born to be ordinary. I was not created to live in fear. I was not designed to remain average. There is greatness in me, and I will not rest until it comes out. Stop looking at others. The person you need to overcome is you. Stop comparing yourself. The race is not against your neighbor. It is against your own limitations. When you stop fighting yourself, you become a weapon in the hands of destiny. When you stop sabotaging your own potential, doors begin to open that no man can shut. The moment you defeat yourself, your life changes. The same problems will appear small. The same challenges will look different. Because victory outside begins with victory inside. You must understand greatness is not about being better than others. It is about being better than who you were yesterday. It is about looking at your reflection and saying, I will not stop until I see a version of me that I am proud of. That version is not built in comfort. That version is built in tears, in sweat, in long nights, in loneliness, in rejection, in faith. Do you think greatness comes easy? No. It demands pain. It demands patience. It demands perseverance. There will be days you cry, but keep going. There will be days you doubt, but keep moving. There will be days you fall, but rise again. Because every time you rise after falling, the old you dies a little more, and the new you grows stronger. The battle for greatness is not won in one day. It is a lifelong war. Every day, the weaker version of you will try to take control again. Every day, you must remind yourself, I am not going back. I have come too far. When your body says stop, your spirit must say go. When your mind says quit, your faith must say continue. When everything around you says impossible, your heart must whisper possible. You'veness, you, that is the greatest war you will ever fight. You may lose friends, but do not lose focus. You may lose comfort, but do not lose courage. You may lose people, but do not lose purpose. Because at the end of it all, it will not be about who stood with you. It will be about who you became. Many start well, few finish strong. The ones who finish strong are not the smartest, not the richest, not the most gifted. They are the ones who conquered themselves. There are moments in life when everything will go silent, when no one will clap for you, when no one will believe in you, when even your own heart will question your journey. Those are the moments that separate winners from the weak. If you can keep walking in the dark, if you can keep believing when there is no sign, if you can keep pushing when nothing works, then you have already defeated yourself. You are not fighting for approval. You are not fighting for applause. You are fighting to become the person you were born to be. Do not run from your weakness. Face it. Do not hide from your fear. Challenge it. Do not complain about your pain. Grow through it. Because every battle inside you is a seed of transformation. Listen. Your greatest enemy is not outside you. It is the part of you that refuses to change. The lazy, you must die. The proud, you must die. The fearful, you must die. The bitter, you must die. The complaining, you must die. So the real you can live. You must crucify your comfort zone. You must bury your excuses. You must resurrect your purpose, because there is a lion inside you, and until you awaken it, you will live like a sheep. UVS, U, the battle for greatness. It is not a one-time event. It is a daily surrender. Every morning, you must choose discipline over distraction. Every day, you must choose purpose over pleasure. Every night, you must choose progress over pride. This is how greatness is built. Not by chance, not by luck, but by decision. And when the world looks at you and says, "You cannot make it," you smile and say, "Watch me." Because the moment you conquer yourself, everything else becomes possible. The old you must die so the new you can live. The weak you must fall so the strong you can rise. The fearful you must fade so the bold you can shine. And one day, one glorious day, you will stand and realize that the war is not over, but you are no longer the same fighter. You are stronger. You are wiser. You are unshakable because you have faced the greatest enemy and won. You have faced yourself. UVS, you, the battle for greatness. That is the fight that defines destiny. The battle never ends. You simply evolve into a stronger fighter. This truth is what separates those who fade away from those who rise beyond limits. Life will never stop testing you. It only changes the shape of the test. When one storm passes, another begins, but with each storm, something inside you transforms. You begin to notice that what once broke you now barely shakes you. What once scared you now only sharpens your focus. You evolve, you grow, and you begin to realize that the goal was never to escape the battle, but to learn how to fight better, to endure longer, to rise quicker, and to stand taller each time you fall. The person who understands this truth stops asking for the battle to end and starts asking for the strength to keep standing in the midst of it. Because every challenge carries within it a lesson. Every pain carries a promotion, and every test carries transformation. In the beginning, you might cry, you might question, you might complain. You might not understand why things keep getting harder when you are trying to do right. But as you evolve, you begin to see that life does not get easier, you just get wiser. You become calmer in chaos, stronger in struggle, and more grounded in pain. You learn that growth and comfort cannot live in the same space. You cannot evolve while holding on to who you used to be. The version of you that can survive the next storm is not the same version that walked into the last one. The battle keeps changing because you keep changing. The enemy inside keeps growing smarter, so you must grow stronger. The doubts get quieter, but they never disappear completely. They simply transform into new forms of resistance: pride, fear, complacency, overconfidence. Each time you think you have arrived, life reminds you that there is still more mountain to climb. The warrior within must be trained daily. You do not become unbreakable overnight. You become unbreakable by facing everything that tried to break you and standing again. You do not win the war once and for all. you win it again and again every morning, every night, every moment you choose to keep believing, when everything around you says stop. The battle for greatness is not a race you finish, it is a journey you endure. You learn to fight with more faith, more patience, more wisdom, and more peace. You evolve from fighting with anger to fighting with purpose. You evolve from fighting for recognition to fighting for meaning. You evolve from trying to prove others wrong to trying to prove yourself right. That is evolution, not the end of battle, but the elevation of it. When you begin to understand that life is not against you, but shaping you, your mindset shifts. You stop begging for an easy path and start praying for stronger legs. You stop complaining about the mountain and start thanking God for the chance to climb. Because every step up, the mountain builds muscles you never knew you had. Every tear, every scar, every lonely night becomes part of the armor that makes you unstoppable. The stronger fighter you are becoming is born in the places nobody sees, in silence, in struggle, in surrender. It is not the applause that makes you evolve, it is the pressure. Diamonds are not made in peace, they are made in fire. Warriors are not built in rest, they are built in battle. Every time life knocks you down, it is inviting you to evolve into someone who can no longer be knocked down by the same blow. As you evolve, you stop needing validation. You stop looking for people to understand your journey, because your journey becomes sacred. You start walking with a quiet confidence that no man gave you. It comes from surviving storms that others never saw. It comes from winning wars that nobody clapped for. It comes from growing in silence while everyone else was watching for your fall. The stronger fighter you become does not fight for attention, they fight for purpose. They fight for inner peace. They fight for the vision that burns inside their heart. You learn that real strength is not loud, it is steady. It is not shown through shouting, it is shown through standing. Every evolution requires separation. You cannot evolve and still hold on to the same distractions, the same habits, the same people that keep you small. Growth demands distance from what limits you. When the battle intensifies, it is often because life is forcing you to shed the things that no longer fit the next version of you. Sometimes you will lose people. Sometimes you will lose comfort. Sometimes you will lose opportunities, but every loss carries a hidden promotion. The version of you that is emerging cannot be born while you are clinging to the past. The stronger fighter within you is trying to break free, but it needs space. It needs silence. It needs your full commitment. You begin to see that every challenge is custom, made for your growth. The situations that frustrate you the most are the ones designed to develop you the most. The things that make you cry are the very things that build your character. The disappointments that crush you are the tools that shape your destiny. Life is not punishing you, it is preparing you. Every time you face something you thought would destroy you and survive it, your spirit grows more powerful. You start to move differently, think differently, and respond differently. What once felt like pain now feels like process. What once felt like failure now feels like formation. What once felt like loss now feels like liberation. You have evolved, not because the world changed, but because you did. The stronger fighter does not fear pain anymore. They have learned that pain is the doorway to power. They do not run from storms. They walk through them with quiet strength, knowing that every storm runs out of rain. They do not ask for the battle to end. They ask for clarity to fight with purpose. They do not panic in pressure. They trust the process. You evolve from asking, "Why me?" to saying, "Try me." You evolve from reacting emotionally to responding wisely. You evolve from being broken by rejection to being refined by it. You evolve from being addicted to comfort to being committed to calling. That is what the battle does. It refines your focus. It matures your emotions. It strengthens your will. The fighter who keeps evolving no longer depends on motivation. They depend on discipline, because motivation fades when pain increases, but discipline keeps you moving when nothing feels good. The stronger fighter inside you learns to act even when feelings are absent. They understand that consistency builds character and character builds destiny. You learn to do what needs to be done, not because it feels good, but because it is right. That is evolution, to rise above feelings and walk by faith. To keep pushing forward, even when there is no applause, no support, no visible reward. To keep doing good even when nobody is watching. That is how you become stronger, wiser, deeper. As you evolve, your definition of greatness changes. In the beginning, you might think greatness is about achievement, about being seen, about success that others can measure. But the more you fight, the more you grow, the more you realize that greatness is peace within chaos. It is humility within power. It is gratitude within growth. It is to be grounded when everything around you is shaking. It is to smile when others expect you to fall. It is to forgive when revenge would feel easier. It is to love when hate would be justified. That is the mark of the stronger fighter. The one who has conquered not just circumstances, but their own spirit. The battle does not get lighter. You get stronger shoulders. You stop breaking at the same pressure. You stop reacting to the same noise. You stop being shaken by the same storms. You evolve into a new level of calm, a deeper level of understanding, a higher level of faith. When you reach that level, you begin to thank life for the very things you once prayed away. You see that every delay, every betrayal, every setback was a seed that helped you grow. You stop resisting the process. because you now understand that every battle was building you, not breaking you. You see that greatness is not about what you gain, but about what you become in the fire. There comes a moment when you realize that your power is not in avoiding pain, but in transforming it. Every wound becomes wisdom. Every tear becomes fuel. Every scar becomes a story that strengthens others. The stronger fighter uses their past as power. They no longer hide their struggles. They wear them as proof that survival is possible. You evolve when you turn your pain into purpose. When you use what hurt you to heal others. When you use your darkness to light someone else's path. That is when your fight takes on meaning beyond yourself. And as you keep evolving, you begin to understand that life's battles are not punishments. They are promotions in disguise. Each level of your destiny requires a different version of you. The moment you master one level, a new one appears. The moment you conquer one weakness, a deeper one is revealed. The moment you think you've reached peace, life introduces a new test to expand your capacity. You never truly arrive because growth has no finish line. The journey keeps unfolding, the lessons keep coming, the transformation keeps deepening. You are no longer who you were, and you are not yet who you will become. You are in the process, the divine process of becoming. You learn that the battle never ends because purpose never ends. As long as there is breath in your body, there is still something to learn, still something to give, still something to overcome. The stronger fighter inside you keeps growing, not because life gets easier, but because your spirit refuses to stay small. You evolve into someone who does not run from the storm, but walks through it with faith. You evolve into someone who can stand alone and still not be lonely. You evolve into someone who can lose everything and still not lose themselves. You evolve into someone who has peace in the middle of pain, strength in the middle of weakness, vision in the middle of darkness. You evolve into someone who realizes that the battle never ends, but neither does your strength, neither does your purpose, neither does your growth. Progress is the result of daily self-confrontation. Every day you wake up, you meet yourself again, not the version the world sees, but the one that lives within, the one that nobody claps for, the one that carries both your weakness and your will. Progress is not a mystery, it is not luck, it is not accident, it is the outcome of facing that inner self without running away. When you confront your excuses, your fears, your doubts, your indiscipline, your pride, your pain, you grow. The man who hides from himself can never grow beyond himself. You cannot conquer what you refuse to face. You cannot change what you constantly excuse. You cannot rise above what you keep protecting. Progress is not made in comfort. It is made in confrontation. It is in those moments when you look at yourself in the mirror and tell the truth. Not the convenient truth, but the painful truth that transformation begins to take root. Every single day gives you a mirror, and what you do with that reflection determines your destiny. Some people look into that mirror and see who they wish they were. Others see who they truly are. Progress belongs to those who are honest enough to say, I am not where I should be, but I will not stay where I am. It belongs to those who can face their own shadows without turning away. You cannot heal what you keep hiding. You cannot improve what you refuse to admit is broken. Daily self-confrontation means you wake up each day and challenge your own habits. You question your own comfort. You expose your own weaknesses. It means you stop blaming others for what only your discipline can fix. You stop waiting for motivation and start demanding consistency. You stop pointing fingers and start lifting responsibility. That is where progress begins. In honesty, not in hype. The truth is, the biggest walls holding you back are not outside of you. They are built inside your mind. Every time you avoid the inner work, those walls grow thicker. Every time you make excuses, they grow taller. But every time you confront yourself, even for a moment, those walls begin to crack. You begin to see that progress is not about giant leaps, but about daily steps. Small steps of courage, small acts of honesty, small moments of awareness. Each step you take toward your better self is a victory over the old one. Confrontation is not comfort, but it is clarity, and clarity leads to progress. The man who can look into his flaws without fear is the man who can rise beyond them. Daily self-confrontation is the fire where growth is forged. Every day you must face your laziness and tell it. You will not win today. You must face your fear and whisper, you no longer control me. You must face your procrastination, your pride, your insecurity, and fight them not once, but again and again. That is the daily battle. You against the parts of you that prefer comfort over calling. Progress demands that you disturb your own peace. It demands that you stretch your limits, question your motives, and expose your weaknesses to the light of truth. The man who refuses to do this will forever live beneath his potential. The man who dares to do it will walk in power, because every confrontation with self reveals strength that was hidden beneath denial. You cannot grow while pretending to be perfect. You cannot evolve while defending your flaws. The strongest people are not those who never fail, but those who face their failures and learn from them. Every day, the mirror of life will show you something. Sometimes your growth, sometimes your gap. But progress is made when you stop running from that mirror. The people who truly change are those who can say, I was wrong yesterday, I will do better today. Each confession is a step forward. Each realization is a rebirth. Self-confrontation strips away pride and builds humility. And humility is the soil where growth takes root. Because only the humble can learn. Only the honest can change. Only the courageous can confront their reflection and still believe in their potential. There is something powerful about a man who can face himself. It is easy to fight the world. It is hard to fight your own habits. It is easy to point at others. It is hard to point at your own mistakes. Yet that is where progress lives, not in the noise of comparison, but in the silence of self-awareness. Every morning, before the world speaks, you must speak to yourself. You must ask, what must I improve? What am I avoiding? What do I need to let go of? These questions are the tools that carve greatness. Progress is not the reward of talent, it is the product of truth. Every person you admire has walked this same path of internal war. They have faced the voice that said, stop, and said no. I go on. They have faced the voice that said, you are not enough, and replied, watch me become enough. That is self-confrontation. When you choose truth over comfort, growth over pride, discipline over desire. The process is painful, but pain is the currency of progress. Each time you face yourself, you will bleed a little, not on the outside, but on the inside. The ego will scream, the fear will whisper, the excuses will argue. But you must not listen. You must stand your ground and say, today, I grow, because the fight within is what gives you authority outside. The man who has defeated himself fears no other enemy. Every habit broken, every weakness confronted, every lie exposed makes you lighter, freer, stronger. And soon you realize, the more you face yourself, the less power your old patterns have over you. You begin to see how much of your pain came not from others, but from your own resistance to change. Progress is born when you stop defending what destroys you. Daily self-confrontation is not a one-time act. It is a lifestyle. It is a discipline that keeps your heart clean and your vision clear. When you wake up, you check your heart the same way you check your reflection. You ask yourself if you are aligned with your values, if your actions match your words, if your intentions are pure. You cannot progress when your heart and habits are in conflict. Every time you confront that conflict, you grow closer to your purpose. The man who examines himself daily cannot be easily deceived. The one who hides from himself will be lost even in success. Because progress is not about outer achievement alone. It is about inner alignment. What good is it to win the world, but lose yourself in the process? What good is it to climb high, but fall inwardly? Real progress means your character grows faster than your career, your discipline grows deeper than your desire, your peace grows stronger than your pressure. The world often celebrates results, but life rewards reflection. Those who reflect rise. Those who confront evolve. The ones who pause to check their motives, to analyze their actions, to measure their integrity. They are the ones who build lasting greatness, because progress without self-awareness leads to destruction. You can run fast, but if you are running in the wrong direction, speed only takes you further from purpose. That is why confrontation is necessary. It redirects your energy toward alignment. It brings your focus back to what matters. It keeps your motives clean and your steps steady. Without daily confrontation, you may achieve success, but never experience growth. You may collect applause, but never find peace. Progress without reflection is a race without a destination. Every day offers two choices: to escape yourself or to face yourself. The weak escape through distraction, denial, and deception. The strong confront through truth, reflection, and correction. Progress begins the moment you choose the latter. When you can say, "I will no longer lie to myself," you have already taken the first step toward transformation. Because truth liberates, truth reveals, truth rebuilds. And the truth about yourself may hurt, but it will heal. Self-confrontation is not judgment, it is correction. It is not condemnation, it is cultivation. It is not destruction, it is direction. The man who dares to confront himself daily becomes unstoppable, not because life becomes easier, but because he becomes clearer, sharper, stronger. Progress is slow, but it is steady. You may not see change in a day, but you will see it in time. The same way a seed breaks before it blooms, you must break your habits before you grow into greatness. Every day you face yourself, you are watering that seed. Every day you are choosing to improve, you are nurturing your future. You may not notice it immediately, but the world will. Because when you confront yourself, your energy shifts, your language changes, your discipline strengthens, and your direction becomes sharper. Self-confrontation is the daily sharpening of your inner sword. Without it, life will dull your edge. With it, every challenge becomes an opportunity to refine your strength. The man who refuses to confront himself becomes a prisoner of his comfort. The man who embraces confrontation becomes a master of his destiny. Because once you start taking responsibility for your own growth, nobody can stop you. Progress is the fruit of self-responsibility. It is born when you stop saying, "I can't," and start asking, "How can I?" It begins when you stop blaming the past and start building the future. The more you face yourself, the less you depend on external validation. You stop waiting for people to push you, you push yourself. You stop waiting for perfect timing, you create it. You stop seeking approval, you seek alignment. You understand that every day is an invitation to rise higher than your excuses, stronger than your fears, and truer than your pride. To confront yourself daily means you accept that growth is uncomfortable, that truth is heavy, that change is costly. But it also means you accept that peace lies on the other side of that pain. Every time you face your inner resistance, it loses its grip on you. You begin to live with a quiet strength, a stable focus, a steady fire. Progress no longer feels like striving. It feels like surrender. Surrendering the false for the true, the temporary for the eternal, the easy for the essential. You understand that confronting yourself is not about punishment. It is about purification. It is not about shame. It is about strength. Because facing your weakness does not make you weak. It makes you wise. When you live in daily self-confrontation, you stop fearing correction from others because you are already correcting yourself. You stop being defensive because you are already disciplined. You stop pretending because you are already progressing. That is how you build integrity, not by perfection, but by consistent self-correction. Each day you confront, you evolve a little more. Each day you evolve, you draw closer to your destiny. And soon, you look back and realize that the person you used to be could never survive the place you are now. That is progress, not a miracle, but a product of daily, deliberate, and sometimes painful self-confrontation.